told me to go.
Okay.
Oh my.
Okay, class. Yesterday, we defined what a claim is in order to write our own. So, we're going to use that knowledge to help us describe and summarize one and its opposing views in detail. So, here's the purpose statement. Today, we are going to be able to delineate claims in a text in order to evaluate the arguments by summarizing using a Venn diagram. Okay, so words that might trip us up today. What are some words that might trip us up?
Delineate.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Santa. Delineate claims in a text. What do you think that means? Anybody know? What's delineate mean? Can you take a good guess? Go ahead, Mr. Wald.
When your eyes dilate.
Okay, it means describe.
Okay.
All right. How about evaluate? Anybody know what it means to evaluate something?
This is like regular.
Evaluate. When we evaluate, we make a judgment about something.
Yeah.
Do we remember what claim is? From yesterday, we do. All right.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that?
Your
what is
claim is your belief about something.
Alright.
All right.
Stop.
Okay, so this means that you guys are going to describe a claim in a text in order to evaluate that. Okay, we're going to do that by summarizing the ideas using a Venn diagram. Please turn and talk to your neighbor about what we're going to do today. Can either of you tell me what we're going to do today in your own words? You're going to make a claim?
In the text in order to evaluate not argument.
I use it at that time.
Okay. Are you going to make a claim? Is that what we're doing? Or is that what we did yesterday?
That's what we do.
Good. So what are we going to do with a claim
We're gonna
today?
delineate claims.
What's that mean?
What does it mean?
Describe. We're gonna describe.
Good job.
You're not good at setting this in the mode.
Let's go.
No, you just do it.
Okay. So, here's the text I'm using today. Brown versus Board of Education. Has anybody heard of this before?
I did.
Okay.
Mr.
very
Rhodes taught it
good.
to me.
Very good. All right, now, I'm going to use close reading strategies and any of my resources that are available to me to basically get a good understanding of the text so that I can fill in my Venn diagram and I will be able to summarize afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to read this out loud. Brown versus Board of Education. In Topeka, Kansas, in the 1950s, what do we know about schools in the 1950s?
They were racially segregated.
Okay, schools were segregated by race. Each day, Linda Brown and her sister had to walk through a dangerous railroad switchyard to get to the bus stop for the ride to their all-black elementary school. Now, if we didn't know what the word segregated was, were there any context clues that I could have used?
All black school.
Okay, then the next sentence, there was a school closer to the Browns' house, but it was only for white students. So we could use those two sentences to kind of clue us in to what segregated means. So what I want to do is, as I'm reading, I want to pay attention to all the details. And so this is Brown, which was the girls who were walking, this was their last name, against the Board of Education. This way we can keep our facts separated. So, first thing, I'm going to put that this was a dangerous walk to school. and it was a little too long. There was a school closer to the Browns' house, if you guys remember, but it was only for white students. Okay, so Linda Brown and her family believed that the segregated school system violated the 14th Amendment, and they took their case to court. So I'm going to write this down, that they believed it was a violation of the 14th Amendment. Now, if I didn't know what the 14th Amendment was all about, what could I use to help me? Normally in class, we have access to what? Normally in class, we have access to...
Computer.
Yeah, we have a computer. You guys usually have Chromebooks at your fingertips, am I right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in case we didn't know what the 14th Amendment was all about, if we looked it up, we would find the Equal Protection Clause requires states to treat their citizens equally, and advocates, have used it to combat discriminatory laws, policies, and government actions. Okay, so they went to court because they felt like there was a violation of their rights under the 14th Amendment. Federal District Court decided that segregation in public education was harmful to black children, so I'm going to put this down before I forget that information. So the federal court said that segregation in public schools is harmful to black children, but because all black schools and all white schools had similar buildings, transportation, curricula, and teachers, the segregation was legal. So, under the Board of Education, I'm going to put same buildings, transportation, curricula, and teachers. So, segregation was legal. So the Browns appealed their case. So, if the Browns aren't satisfied with what the Board of Education says, and they appeal the case, what do you think that means? We can use our context clues, right, to tell us that if they don't agree with this, right, that they're basically saying the opposite. So, that they don't feel that it was legal. So, they appealed the case. That means they're saying, no, you guys are not right, and we're going to take you back to court. Okay. They appealed to the Supreme Court, stating that even if the facilities were similar, segregated schools could never be equal to one another. Finally, okay, segregated schools could not be equal. Okay, and then we have the court decision. The court decided that state laws requiring separate but equal schools violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Okay, so this is what you guys are going to do today, all right? You're going to delineate claims in a text in order to evaluate that argument. So you're going to make a judgment about this based on your summary of all of the facts. Here is your anchor chart, okay? This is a model so that as we go through this process in the next week or so, you know the steps that you have to take, beginning with the first, summarizing the reasons, okay? And then on. We'll get into assessing evidence, identifying perspectives, and investigating the author, and that will be in days to come. Okay? Thank you very much.
Cut.